evening, everybody. You can see it's dark outside. It's a little bit miserable, and it's only about 4:30. But I thought I'd have a little chat with you this week. So it's been a while since I had a sit down and a chat. So I've got one of my favourite mugs with some jasmine tea in it. It's freezing, and we'll see if I can do this in one take, but no guarantees. If I start rambling, I'll stop it and just split it up a little bit. It's been about 3 or 4 weeks since I've actually done any video. So if you saw my last week's video, you'll see I was stranded on the side of the canal, and then I took a bit of a break. So that's quite old now for me. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. And thank you to everybody who's subscribed recently. It's really great to have you on board, and I hope you enjoy my videos. If you are new, I'll do a bit of a background. So I do live in a marina. I live full time on the boat, but I live in a marina, and I do go out and about on occasion, but at the moment I am stuck. So what you last saw was being stranded on the canal, as I say, and I left the boat there. Now, it was there for about 2 weeks, and 3 different engineers kind of were talking about it, and they couldn't decide between them what was the problem, and they didn't want to start taking it apart on the side of the canal, so it ended up staying there for quite a time, and the tow that was supposed to happen didn't happen. And in the end, a lovely person from my home marina, Sarah, so shout out to Sarah, thank you very much. Sarah went to get my boat with the help of someone who lives in the marina, who went to open all the lift bridges for Sarah, so thank you for that. So the boat is now back and I'm back on board, but the engine's still not fixed, so I am rather stranded. So I won't be going anywhere for a while, and no one here's got the time or ability or inclination to fix it. There's a few staffing issues, I believe. So a lovely neighbour who's volunteered to take a look at it. He's an engineer and fabricator, so he's going to have a look at it. He's actually busy with his own boat right now, so he's going to come in a couple of weeks and have a look at it. So fingers crossed I get that fixed. But yeah, it's really unpleasant having that, and everything just seems to be going wrong at the moment. But yes, so that's where I'm up to. And it's freezing, as you can see. I've got lots of layers on. Now, don't let anybody tell you that it's not cold on a boat. I know everybody asks, is it cold on the boat? And generally I see a lot of videos saying, no, it's really hot. Both is true. From my experience, it's flipping freezing, okay? So the boat gets cold very fast, but it's also got the potential to heat up very fast. So if I put the fire on, I'm sitting right next to it, it's not on, it's 12 degrees in here at the moment. I've just come in from being out during the day, and yeah, it's freezing, okay? So I've got a million layers on. But if I put the heating on, so I've got central heating that runs off diesel, so if I put that on and it's on for, I don't know, maybe an hour, it'll bump the temperature up by about 2 degrees. So the temperature will rise, and if I put the fire on, then it can get to 19, which is hot compared to this, really fast. Obviously that doesn't heat up the whole boat, so it tends to be kind of here that it gets very hot, and then sort of it just doesn't spread around. I need to get a fan, but this there to the bedroom is quite a narrow gap, so it never gets warm in there. But I have the central heating on coming on in the morning for 2 hours, I think an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then that's warm enough to get me out of bed and get dressed really fast, and then I come in here and it's freezing, because it gets warm in the bedroom really quick because it's such a small space. It's got a door on it, but in here, yeah, it gets pretty chilly. So I'll generally stand it during the day. It's kind of 14 when I get up, but if it gets to like 12, then I'll put the fire on, and I really prefer not to put the fire on before about 4, because it just eats fuel. That sounds obvious, but it goes through fuel quite quickly. It's a multi-fuel burner, so I can put coal briquettes and logs in it. I need to get a little basket to put the briquettes in, which basically makes it a smaller fire and keeps them closer together, so that that'll be more efficient. But at the moment I don't. It's just a kind of loose space, so I need to go shopping really for that. So yeah, that's the first thing. It's cold. I also have a couple of other things. So I wrote some things down. So if I keep looking down, that's what I'm doing, because I wrote some things down over the last couple of weeks that I really wanted to chat to you all about. So this is my opportunity, especially as I haven't really gone out anywhere and done anything with the boat. So gender roles, okay? Now, gender roles on a boat, I've noticed that mostly if there's a mixed gender couple, so a male and female on a boat, the male tends to be at the tiller, cruising or driving, and the female tends to be opening all the locks. And sometimes, occasionally, I saw it differently, but on the whole, if there's a man and woman on board, that's the way it goes. So, and I'm really interested to see what your guys' experience in that is. So that's boaters and non-boaters. You know, if you see canal boaters, what do you spot? So that's a really interesting one that I've noticed. And the other thing is, like, what's the deal with looking at other people's boat names? So we all do it, right? You're cruising along, or even if you're just walking along the side of the canal, you don't have to be on a boat. You see the people at the back of the boat, and you wave and smile or say good morning or whatever. And then your eyes drop down to the name of the boat, and that's everybody. And everybody looks at my boat, and I look at everybody else's boat. And it's just a thing. And I don't know what that's about. It's like we all have to know what the boat's called or something. I don't know if we're judging them on what the name is, or we're looking for a fun name. I don't know. But yeah, I was just interested to see other people's opinions on that, and if you've noticed that, because I think that's quite funny. Okay. What else? The amount of things that go wrong. Okay, so before I got a boat, I knew, because everybody says it, and all the blogs say it, and all the articles say it, and all the vloggers say it, there's always something that needs doing. And I get that, and I understood that. However, it seems to be, it's not just that jobs need doing, it's that things constantly go wrong. So it's not like, oh, the boat needs painting. It's things like there's a leak, or there's a broken engine, or the water pumps die. I mean, that hasn't happened to me. God, I hope that doesn't happen now. But stuff like that. What I have got is the heating pressure. I can't get the heating pressure back up, and it's supposed to be between 2 and 3, but I can't get it above 1.5, which is really annoying. So stuff like that suddenly becomes urgent. And for everybody that I speak to, when everyone says, oh, how's your boat, you know, has your bottom been done now? And I say, yeah, but now I've got a failed engine, or yeah, but now I've got a leak, or, you know, the bilge is full of water or something. There's always something that's going wrong, and it's really, really frustrating. A day doesn't go by when you're not trying to fix a problem, or you're troubleshooting some new issue. So yeah, I'd be really interested to hear other boaters' views of that, because the people I'm talking to seem to think that I'm super unlucky, that things are just going drastically wrong. So maybe I've just got a dud boat, people. She's gorgeous. I shouldn't say that. She looks after me mostly. But yeah, that's quite stressful. So yeah, that's a shout out to other boaters. You know, how is it every day that you find something's just gone terribly wrong and you're bailing out water or something? I don't know. But yeah, so that's quite hard to deal with if you're working full time and you're trying to like fix issues on the boat. That's really exhausting. And I also wanted to give you an update on insurance. So those people who have been with me since the beginning, or that you've caught up on all my videos, I think my second video or third video was about insurance. I think I had a couple of videos touching on insurance. So when I bought the boat and tried to insure it, they said that because it was over a certain age, she's a classic. This boat is 1981 built. So because she's a certain age, the insurance companies wanted a full survey, not just, you know, a whole survey. This is a full internal, external, the works. So I was like, okay, fine. So it was due out for blacking soon after I bought it. So I had a full internal and external buyer's survey. Well, for insurance, it's very similar to a buyer's survey, but a bit extra. So full insurance survey is what it was called. So my surveyor came, did it all, and said that it needed the base plate. And of course, the insurance company are never gonna insure it when it needs base plate doing. So what they say is, most insurers now, the base plate has to be a minimum of 4 mil. And you'll see when you buy a boat, most boats now are built with 10 mil of steel on the base plate. Mine was never over 6. It was quite a, when it was built, it was quite thin, but also classic British steel. It was a lot better than the stuff that is around now. Apparently, there'll be someone out there who's like, no, it isn't. But anyway, that's what I was told. So, yeah, where was I? Insurance. So I knew they wouldn't insure it. So I got it insured third party. So you have to, if you have a boat, you have to have it insured third party at a minimum. So I had to change my insurance company because one insurance company wouldn't do it third party. So I had to change. So I'm now insured with Craft Insure. They insured it third party and said that when I have the survey done, get back in touch and they'll do full comprehensive. So because the survey said I needed a base plate done, I didn't bother contacting them. Went to get the base plate done, had the base plate done, got the invoice, sent it to the insurance company and said, hey, I've had the base plate done. And they said, oh, great. Now we need proof that all your like holes, so all the drainage holes from like the sinks and stuff are the sufficient clearance above the waterline, so obviously so it doesn't sink. So I was like, oh, for God's sake. And they said, we'll take the surveyor's word for it, or the marinas. I was like, well, I've left. This was like 3 weeks ago. So I contacted my home marina and they said they would do a letter. So they had a look at the boat, said it was fine, did a letter. So I sent that to the insurance company. Then the insurers come back and say, oh, you haven't told us, the surveyor hasn't said how much the boat is valued at. Can you confirm that? It's just one thing after another with these insurance companies. It's a pain. Why don't they send me a list to say, yeah, sure, we'll insure it after we've done this, 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 and this. But no, you send one thing, they say, oh, but we still need. So anyway, I just told them the value that I think it is, because what I paid for it, including the cost of the replating. So I gave them the valuation and they got back to me and said, that's fine, now pick your premiums. So I did, and now it's insured. Yay! So that whole palaver is over, thankfully. So now it's fully comprehensive, which is just a huge relief, to be honest, because this is my home. You know, if this burns down or sinks, then I'm homeless again. So that's not that great. But my question is to all you guys, have any boaters out there ever had a successful insurance claim? Because in my mind, it's not worth the paper it's written on. If you read the small print, say if your boat, heaven forbid, sinks, they can weasel out of it, because they'll say it's either like there's loads of either or. So it says, we'll give you the money if, or accept, you know, and a lot of it is if they can say that it wasn't properly maintained, or there wasn't enough steel, or if it's your fault, or if it's somebody else's fault. So really it's pretty shocking. And if they will pay for recovery, but only if, like, it's not again, it's not your fault, or, you know. So basically I'm racking my brains to think, when would they actually pay out if the boat sunk or burnt down? Because if it burnt down, they'd say, oh, well, it was faulty electrics, or oh, your smoke alarm didn't work, you know. And yeah, so I'm insured, and I suppose that's a little bit of a peace of mind, but really, is it worth it? So yeah, thoughts on that, please, would be really interesting. And then I thought I would finish by telling you a bit of an interest story. So I can't spell the word chandlery. I just can't get it in my head. So in one of the videos, I wrote it in the information under the video, and I had to look it up. And I looked it up and it said, oh, it's a candle shop. And I was like, no, that's not the right spelling. That's a different chandlery. Anyway, I found out it is the right spelling. It's the same spelling. And I thought, I've never heard anyone talk about this, and I thought you guys might be interested. So the history of the word chandlery is really interesting. So a chandlery used to be an office in a big house, like a medieval house, an office that was responsible for all the wax and candles in the house. And then later on, it actually became a shop that sold wax and candles. But by the 18th century, a lot of these also supplied ships with wax and candles, and so they also sold shippy bits and all boaty bits. And then the term, over time, the chandlery became known for actually selling nautical items, so boat items rather than candles particularly. So that's really fascinating. So yeah, a boat chandlery was originally a shop that sold candles, which I found just really, really sweet. And also, this bit came from Wikipedia. It was really cool. Chandelier, so we'll all know the word chandelier, you know, those big glittery things that are on the ceiling that have little diamonds or diamantes coming from it. They're mostly electric now. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen, maybe in a National Trust property, seen like a steel one with candles. So the term chandelier is still used, but of course it used to have candles, so it used to hold candles, which is where the term is the same for chandlery. And the person that sold the candles, or was responsible for the wax and candles, was called the chandler. And I just found that really interesting, and thought you might be interested in that. So yeah, so that's just a bit of a chat session this week. Maybe next time I might have some more for you. So my health hasn't been that great over the last few weeks, so I haven't really done anything. but I did promise you a cooking video, so I'll try and do some of that this week. But if there isn't a video next week, I'm sorry, but I'll just try and keep some videos coming occasionally. But as I say, I've got to look after number one for a while. But I hope this has been nice for you, and again, thank you for joining me, and thank you for all my new subscribers. It's lovely. So I hope you all stay warm and it's not too horrible and wet and windy and gross wherever you are. Thanks for joining me, and take care, and we'll see you very soon. Bye guys.